Hi, my name is Paul Matthew, and welcome back to the Fluid Online Marketing Podcast, where we talk with professionals about how they use social media and other digital marketing methods to improve their businesses. I'm your host, Paul Matthew. I use video to help my clients reach their audiences and communicate the right message. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Remy Lewbel from. Did I say that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay. And he is the CEO of Trend45, and I've got to say, I'm very impressed with Remy. He's quite the entrepreneur, and he's done such success at a very young age. Yeah. He's still in school. He's about to wrap up. He's almost done, and he's already started an international business where he's flying out celebrities out to these crazy locations. I've been on a couple of his trips, and it's a lot of fun. So tell me a little bit more about what Trend45 does for the audience that hasn't heard of you.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you for the warm introduction, for sure. And I want to say what Trend45 is. There's not a lot of companies that are like this business yet. What we're doing is we're providing networking and collaboration and travel all together. And I think that is what's really special. There's not a lot of companies, especially in the industry for creatives, that are focusing on such a high profile event. And when I talk about high profile, I don't mean the celebrities, because of course a lot of influencers come to these trips, but it's what we're doing and creating the culture that we're trying to create. And I think that's what's really special by going to these countries, showing the culture and the beauty of what we do there and be as sustainable as we can. And I think that's one of the most special things about the business that I run.
And you also, I know you have a program on there where you donate a portion of the profits to help with
women who've been sexually assaulted.
Yes.
So, matter of fact, that's the cool thing of doing these events with working with so many creatives. You wouldn't believe how many photos we get. Man, I could just say that we have terabytes of photos.
There's a lot of content.
Because we're working with so many photographers.
I mean, the trip I went on, I took about 5,000 photos.
Exactly.
Not even exaggerating.
Exactly, because we're bringing average groups of 40 people. So we're just working all week with all these photographers, all these influencers. You're going to get a lot of content. So with the content that we collect, we created a magazine, a publication. And with this publication, we donate 50% of the proceeds to help women who've been sexually assaulted. We want to pay for their therapy. And I think that's one of the biggest goals to me and why I want to keep striving and keep reaching new heights.
Now, have you had any sort of conflict with promoting that message and then people misunderstanding the content? Where would you set that line? How would you define that and say that it's empowering to women?
Yeah, so there's definitely a big line there, and you're crossing a lot with using luxury travel, using all this influence. So you're not just going to get a bad rep. A lot of people are going to say certain things because they know you're doing something different or you're doing something that's exciting or something they're not necessarily doing. So you can kind of get hate. I want to say hate's a strong word, but you definitely get that. And how I differentiate that, and I want to be known for that sustainability and creating that foundation. We really want to push that message. And we're trying to find ways through marketing and through celebrity power to really get that magazine off the ground and show people it's not just about the travel. Because don't get me wrong, traveling and showing the world's beauty is amazing, and it's the best thing that I personally love doing. But the bigger message is that we have to be here for a reason. We have to be the voice that isn't heard. And with Trend, we're creating that platform to have a voice.
Absolutely. So I want to get more into the marketing side of it, because this is the marketing podcast.
Of course.
And today I really wanted to focus on influencer marketing, because I've been doing a lot of work with you lately, so I kind of know a little bit about what's going on. And we brought in some influencers, and I was blown away with the results influencer marketing can get, even with a micro influencer.
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to think they have to have these millions of followers to get a good investment off of an influencer. And we got more of a micro influencer, about 200,000 to 300,000 followers on her YouTube channel, and with that we had her plugging that business. Drove in about 150 plus applications. So
Less than a week.
And yeah, within basically the first 24 hours, we had 100 applications. And give the audience a little bit of perspective, each application has a value of between $2,000 and $4,000.
Yeah.
So the profit margin is very high, or I should say that the return on investment was within the first 24 hours was about 2 times the investment, basically, and it's only increasing. So that's kind of the power of influencer marketing. I want to hear more how your thoughts on that.
We'll see. Just like any other brand, when we started, we wanted to, of course, use Facebook advertising, Instagram advertising, all those social media to seem as relevant or be as relevant as you can. And we see applications come in, but then we took a try and using someone who speaks to a bunch of people. This person is Shallon Lester. She's an amazing YouTuber. She speaks to a lot and has an amazing audience, a very committed, engaged audience.
And it's very important to vet your influencers and make sure that they're legitimate, their followers are real, but also that their followers will be interested in what you have to offer.
Exactly. So trying to find that specific influencer or celebrity to be the right person to advocate for Trend45, we had to go do some soul searching. We had to figure out who would be best to fit that situation. And I believe Shallon was the right person, and I'm very excited to see further on how many more applications we can when we start scaling larger, when we start using bigger and bigger influencers. And I think this is the start of a perfect world tour.
Yeah, that's what was the process for picking that influencer?
So the process, it goes with how we plan events necessarily. When we plan events, we just pick where we want to go. We kind of say, hey, Remy, where do you want to go this year? And I'll tell them, I want to go to these places. And then we kind of pick and assess from there. With picking that YouTuber or that celebrity, we didn't know. We just started looking. And then we found maybe a group of 20 that we thought would be a good match for us. And with that match, we found her. We chose to be her. And I have not looked back since, because just hearing the stories of the applicants of how much this YouTuber or this particular YouTuber has meant to them is unbelievable, man.
Yeah, I've read a few of their stories that they've posted, and yet the following for her is very loyal and very committed.
Very loyal. And that was surprising to me, just hearing the stories on these applicants of people who have been touched by her, and they get to now meet her and go to an event and then experience Trend, I think is bittersweet. And I'm so excited. Like, you have no idea. We have a little more than a month before we go to France.
Yeah, I'm excited to go to France.
France will be fun.
It's going to be so much fun.
And then right after that, 6 more events we have planned for 2020 after.
Yeah.
All international.
Yeah, it's really quite the business. And it's a unique business model. I don't really know of any other business that has implemented it to the scale that you have, where you found a need, and the need is people want to have all this content. Like, there's a lot of micro influencers, people just launching their career, and they may not have access to tons of talented videographers and photographers. So traveling, like, if you were to go and travel to all these places and then hire a crew, the expense would be so great. And just a barrier for people to get into that industry. Whereas now you can, with your business model, these people can pay a much lower premium and then work with all these different content creators. And the content creators win because they may not know a whole lot of models that they could photograph.
You're creating that network, that triangle of really creating that connection, that bridge. And I think that's what's so special, is when you get this group together, and whether this group comes from, I mean, we're looking at applications. I just got off the phone with people from Romania and Ireland because I couldn't call them last night. And we have people from New York, Atlanta, LA, everywhere. And they all come to this from different places of the world. And the work that comes from this is just outstanding, man. It's
there's
insane.
Such a high caliber of work. It's, as a photographer, it's inspiring to work along these other people and learn from them and be like, just figure out what they're doing differently and how they approach these different situations is quite the learning experience. yeah, it's a really fun trip to go on to.
It's really fun because you have to make sure that you do everything right. There's so many people out there who have trust issues to things like this because you could relate to, I think, was it Firefest?
Yeah.
We could talk about, I remember a lot of people before we released our first Bali trip last year, that was when the documentary came out, and a lot of people were like, is this Firefest? And it's like, no, we don't work
that was
with...
bad timing.
Yeah, it was bad timing from the market.
You're coming out with this really innovative international trip right along the same time that big fail came out, and news breaks out about that. That was something a little bit of an uphill battle.
And so I just handled it with taking with the punches. Like, okay, we work with 40 people, not 6,000, and we're renting out hotels, not creating
you've made
private
it
islands.
so
we've made it manageable, so things like that don't happen. So it's not out of our control.
Yeah.
Plus, we've just done 15 now.
Yeah, you've been in this business for a while, for a few years. It started out as out-of-state trips.
Yeah, even
and now
locally.
has grown to things to like Indonesia and France and Costa Rica.
Yeah, dude. So the craziest part is right after this podcast, I have to go take my last final exam ever. And
that's exciting. How do you feel about that? Almost done.
It doesn't make sense now that I'm about to graduate college. I'm very excited about it. And then I get to take my dream job full time.
Yeah, that's how I felt coming out of school too. I had already started my business in that last year, and I was full time with it as of August, but I still had like till December to finish out that school. And it's just like, I'm already doing my dream career, but I'm this close. I've got to finish.
Yeah,
So, I can relate to that.
So when you were saying how before we were local and we were doing out-of-state events, and I want to put a lot of emphasis on that because that community that we've built, that trend community that we've built with the local communities, I want to say, was crazy. Our community in trend strives, and I love it.
That's another thing I want to mention is when you're spending a week out in this new area with all these people, you start out like, for me, I only knew one person. I was like, okay, I know one person, and then all these new people I've never met, and then after a week, it's like you're one big family. And
man.
And you build these great relationships with people and get the great content. It's just all around.
Yeah, it's really cool. Honestly, going to these events and meeting people who you've never met before, and then being in a position, well, hey, we're going to shoot for the whole week. We're going to be with each other the whole week. We're going to go on all these excursions together. You really get to make a family out of it. And that's so special.
Yeah.
And regardless, seeing that from my point of view as a CEO and seeing these connections be built, man, it's so special seeing actually people who have never seen each other before, never met each other, probably never would have met each other, then become best friends and take that relationship after the event to levels that I can't even comprehend. And I think that's the biggest payout, is seeing these people actually make it.
So switching gears a little bit, your Instagram account it's really doing well. You've got over 50,000 followers on your Instagram.
The company,
the company Instagram, I should say. Tell me a little bit about the process and how you built that.
So with creating our platform, we obviously have to be relevant on social media. So with the amazing content that we've gotten from all these talented photographers, we just have to make a very clean aesthetic. And I think I want to stress that most to people who don't have businesses or who are starting off their business is making sure the colors fit well, making sure that stories and highlights are being posted, making sure that it just looks clean. And when everything is clean, organized, or how I like to say, powerful and easy, and clean as well, people will love that.
So aesthetic is a very important element.
Aesthetic is a huge. That's where I'm going at. Aesthetic is a huge thing.
All right,
a huge thing.
And do you do anything else, such as like engagement groups or other things to help to build that following?
So exactly. Engagement groups are a huge thing, whether they be small Instagram groups with other influencers or even going on third-party apps and finding groups like Telegram is an app that I personally use, that you can put multiple what would you say, posts in, and people like and comment on those posts and engage with your posts as long as you engage with theirs. So there's different ways to really scale that engagement up. And I think that's what's really helped me get Trend from 0 to 50,000.
Yeah.
And my goal for 2020 is to scale up to 100,000. I'm very excited to see where that goes because social media is always changing. I know that in the future, Instagram may not be the only one. We have different apps that come out all the time.
Yeah.
And you just have to roll and get ready and prepare yourself because you just have to be on top of it.
Well, and the part of being on these different platforms is you start to learn the nuances of each platform. And if one dies and another one comes along, it's likely going to have some sort of element from that previous, and it's built upon that. And if you get on Instagram, you start killing it now, or with any other one, whatever you learn from that, you can take it. Plus, you take your following with you if you've built a brand.
Yeah.
You take your following to the next platform. You take what you've learned from the nuances, and you continue growing from there. And then I lost my train of thought on that.
No, you're good. And if I would bounce on that,
Yeah.
I think that's very big to scale up from the event. So every event that we've done, like we've done 15, we learn how to do better after each. So if there was a new social media account, same thing applies. You learn how to make that better than what you've had previously. And I think I take that very, very strongly because I like to really question what I can do better to have an overall better experience. In my honest opinion, with marketing comes organic growth and word of mouth. And I believe that comes with treating your clients with respect, showing them that you care, and showing them that they are part of the family. And once you give them that feeling of caring for the family, they will really show you their true colors, and they will not only want to come back, but want to grow and tell their friends. And I think when you have these applications now, whether it's a YouTuber who's famous or someone's friend, we look at every application as the same. We call them, we understand who they are, and we try to build that relationship. And so building that relationship just goes into that circle again.
Yeah, and that's one of the first things I noticed when I applied to go to the Bali trip.
Yeah.
You personally called me and like talked to me about it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like an automated thing. Like it starts out with a form, and then there's a very quick follow-up to like learn who you are and what you can do and all of that. So I think that's having that personal touch and keeping that is important for your business.
Exactly, because when people are spending $4,500 for a trip,
they want something customized and personal.
Exactly, and you don't want them to feel that they're being used in any way. You don't want them to feel, because that's a lot of money, man. $4,500, I'm going to be the first one to say that's a lot.
Yeah.
But I know that there's value in that as well. And I know with the value that's in that ticket or in that price, whether it could be any price, you just have to make sure that that client knows that that price is what it is and they're having a good time spending that money. And what happens if they go and they have a terrible time?
Yeah.
That would feel bad on me, and I would want to like fix that. So that's why I go out and try to make sure everybody's having a good time. And it's worked so far, and I'm really happy to implement all the things I've learned to this world tour we're about to drop.
And there's like icebreakers and stuff and group things that help people come out of their shell. So maybe if they're a little bit shy, they have an opportunity to engage with these group activities to build their confidence and start to have a good time and come out of that shell.
Yeah, the team building exercises.
Yes, those are important, especially for people that are a little shyer.
Exactly.
To get them out and going.
And, you know, whether it be a water balloon toss or a scavenger hunt to see a prop, and once you get that prop, to take a photo with that prop when you're teamed up with a photographer, we come up with all these cool games and team building exercises to not only spark creativity, but spark communication.
Yeah.
And someone who comes to an event and may not know anybody at all and might be a little quiet, a little bit nervous, sensory overload, these games bring them in. And that just goes back to treating these people like they are kings.
Yeah.
Because they are. And if you keep that mentality that they're royalty and you try to give them that royal experience, I think you're going to come out well.
Yeah, and like when I was given for that game, I was given this bag of just random stuff. And I was like, what am I going to do with this? And some of those photos ended up being my favorites.
Really?
Just because you like it pushed you to try something that you wouldn't have. I was given this white streamer. And I was like,
Okay.
what am I going to do with streamer? So I sat the model out by this greenery patch and whatnot, and all this old wood log, and then I wrapped everything, kind of tangled it up in this white streamer, and then had her holding a rose, and it looked really good.
Yeah.
It ended up pulling together in a nice aesthetic when I wouldn't have thrown white streamer all over someone.
Yeah. And hearing that, because I've never heard that story, truthfully, hearing that and how it made you like come out of your shell, and even your photography shell, something that you said you would never do before, doing that and then being happy with the outcome, bro. That's
what it's about.
That's what it's about. That's it. And that's like the dream, man. That's what I want to see. I want to see more of that, and I love that it's working.
And do you, kind of circling back to Instagram, do you automate anything with that?
So automating by posting, just keeping schedules, making sure that we're on top of the game, because it is a lot. Working with this company and being in school, there's been a lot of different stages and different roles that have to be filled. And thank God for the team that we have here. The team at Trend is amazing. I wouldn't be able to do it without them, honestly.
Yeah.
But the fact that our team has gone together and build together and seeing it grow, and just seeing social media grow from when I started doing it, because when I started Trend, it was just me.
Yeah.
I was just doing everything.
And it's so hard to do everything.
Oh my God.
Getting a team
is. God.
I'm still at the stage where I'm doing everything, but I've been starting to take those initial steps to growing for a team, and that's where I want to go with my business. Is when you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, you're gonna succeed so much better.
You are who you surround yourself with. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, always hire someone smarter than you.
Yeah, that's why you're working with me now. Because man, this guy Paul, he knows his stuff. Promise you. And just you working with a lot of our team and getting to know them, you've seen our team really expand so well. And just working with our YouTuber, our celebrity Shallon, working with her and seeing the growth come from it, just wants us to work more, because we have 3 scheduled events right now, and we plan on releasing 4 more for the rest of 2020, all international, all smooth, and we just want to scale up to as large as we can. And I believe one of those ways to help me in marketing is get into the level of PR or get a publicist, which is a little different. People may not know about why this is important, but this is my idea and why it may be important. When working with all these influencers, yes, we have our magazine that we sell, and we interview some of the models and photographers who come to these events. But besides the friends and family and the viewers who see this magazine, it doesn't really have that reach. So with that reach and hiring a publicist, getting that publicity, reaching out to companies, whether it be Daily Mail or different, not gossip magazines, but different outlets that report on news for the culture, for kind of celebrity culture, they would eat this up. And I think that's going to be the future with Trend. We'll get there when we get everything a little bit more organized and get that next step. But I really believe when you start reaching out to these different news organizations and you tell them what's going on and you tell them what you're doing and you tell them that, hey, it's not just we're traveling to these countries and just using the culture, using the scenery for our own likeness. We're actually doing something good for the world or doing something good for the people. And that's what I really want. And so I don't want that to ever get overcrowded, because like we said earlier, the vacations are amazing. The connections are, you will never make connections like that again. But the fact of the matter is, if we can stand up for something and we can have a voice, then that voice should be heard. And I want to be that person who can make that come out, that voice come out.
Yeah, that's incredible. I know with Peter McKinnon, he's a YouTuber, and one thing he did when he was just getting started is he posted that his very first video, he sent it out to all these bloggers and anyone that disseminated information, and that's where he started his growth, is just by getting that to everyone he could possibly put it out to, until someone like reposted it, and then his channel exploded from there. So I think that's also a very good technique, is to reach out
Yeah.
to those news organizations and publicists.
Yeah, and who knows? You may not even need a publicist necessarily for that. Of course, it would help me out, but even if someone didn't have the budget necessarily to do this, for a viewer or someone who's trying to get a larger reach, they can definitely reach out to these companies themselves and just make a very formal email and see what happens from there. Because
Can never hurt to try.
like me, I never would have thought my business would have taken off. You sent me here 2 years ago. Bali, I wouldn't even know where that was. And now I'm about to plan 7 more events this year. Man, my parents think I'm crazy. But they see that it's growing exponentially. Or I say that word wrong. I try to say bigger words so I sound smarter, just like you. But no.
I mispronounce things all the time. I will try and say a big fancy word, and it'll just come out mispronounced. And people like,
yeah, they're like, Remy, you sure you're that smart? Yeah.
Yeah, use words in your vocabulary. Yeah, I feel the struggle on that. We're just too smart for English.
There we go.
Yeah.
Gotta learn another language now.
I tried taking Spanish back in middle school or high school, whatever it was.
Really?
Did not go well. I hated it, and I was like, yeah, this is dumb. I live in America. Why do I need to learn Spanish? I wish I had learned that. Older me wishes I had taken the time to learn it, but younger me was like, I ain't having it.
See, my father, he's trilingual, and he knows Spanish and French. And I've always wanted to learn, but I never really applied myself. In school, I got like a D in French, and my dad almost like put me up for adoption. But that's not true. Anyway, but I've tried to learn languages, and I feel like just me, like, I'll give you a specific example for marketing, rather. Romanian, a language that may not be the most popular, but something I learned due to someone being in my life. And I actually attempted to learn the language. I actually followed through with it. I'm confident to say I know more Romanian than French and Spanish. And so I've actually been able to connect with people who apply, who are Romanian.
That's what you were just saying.
I was, before this meeting, I was on the phone with someone who is Romanian. Luckily, her English is good, so I didn't have to speak too much Romanian because it's not so good. Yeah. But it's definitely a conversation starter. So one thing that I wish I knew when I was younger is use your languages to your advantage, man. Yeah. Really, like, I would have never thought that you could really use that. And you always hear people say that connection or like languages help connections. Yeah. It worked for me.
I mean, it's definitely a useful skill to have. And when you travel as much as you do, that's a very important skill to have, to be able to have those different languages. Now, how does Romanian sound? Like, say something in Romanian.
So I would say alo ce faci, and that would be like, hey, how are you? Oh, okay. And so someone would say bine, and that means good. And then foarte bine, that means very good. And these are just like some of the words I would just personally say when I would be in Romania. I was there for a month this summer. And so all the Romanians thought I was pretty cute just trying to say basic words, but it was cool.
So it works to your advantage that you're like the foreigner.
The foreigner who's attempting to learn their language, because I think that's what means the most to them, is that I actually was trying. And man, it works. And
I think anybody in any culture always appreciates when someone tries to learn their language, their culture, and actually tries to be a part of it.
Yeah, and I think when we're going on these trips, that's one of the most important things to me, is respecting the culture, making sure that the culture is well respected, especially when we went to Bali. We went during a very religious holiday.
Yes, that was like, tell us about that story.
So it's called Nepi. I believe it's the Hindu religion, where, man, it's so special. I'll give you guys the whole rundown of how this happened, because it was actually logistically terrible, but it was so much fun.
Yeah, it was logistically, it was like, it kind of canceled out a lot of things that we had on our agenda. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm very happy that I was a part of that cultural experience. To be in this, I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah, so we can go into the story. This is a crazy story, because we only knew about this holiday probably a week until we went. And they're just saying, Nepi, it's the day of silence. And we're like, okay, what do we do? We can't go out that day. Oh, okay. So we just stay at the house. We're in a giant like villa, so everybody's okay hanging out there. So we're doing our excursions. Was it the day before? We're trying to go to the rice paddy fields.
I think it was the elephant
Yeah,
sanctuary.
we're trying to go to an elephant sanctuary, and the traffic is ferocious.
Yeah.
Like, we're dead stopped. And then our tour guide is saying, hey, either we can go to the elephants, but we'll be there till 10 p.m.
And mind you, it was how early?
It was like 8 a.m. already.
Yeah, so
And
it was really early in the day.
And then I made the decision. I was like, let's just roll back and we'll do the elephants another day.
Yeah.
And everybody was cool with it. And we're all hanging out at the house, and all the workers at the villa are saying, come on, the big ceremony's about to start.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here like, come on, where are we going? And like, so we have a big van. It fits 15 people. I would say 15 people went in the van with our first director. And they're telling us that there is a big holiday coming and there's a big celebration. And that's realistically all they kind of told us.
Yeah.
And so all day during that, prior, if we go back in time, during that traffic jam we were in, we knew that the celebration was going to be big. We saw parades of people just walking dressed all in white. So we knew that something was coming, and we weren't about to miss that, especially with all the video we had. No way.
Yeah.
No way. So the first group left on that van, then the van came back, but it started getting fat. Like, they're like, oh my gosh, we're going to miss the celebration. So all the workers at the villa got their mopeds and put people on the back of their mopeds.
Yeah, I got a ride on the back of a moped, and that was riding a moped in Indonesia was one of the highlights of that trip for me.
Yeah, for me, I was like, oh my God, I hope everybody's going to the same place.
Yeah, you're the one that had to worry about the logistics. You're like,
Yeah, I'm like, oh
no
my
one get kidnapped.
I was like, oh my gosh. And so I hop on the back of my moped, and I'm driving. I'm praying that we're about to meet our rest of the squad. And luckily, yes, thank God, everybody did.
Yeah.
And
we had a great team of workers there. The Villa team was just incredible.
Oh yeah, honestly, I'm blessed. They made the trip amazing, and I was very happy to.
We even played soccer with them.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we even played soccer with them just to show them that we care. I mean, they whooped our ass though. Like, they murked us.
So they're like, "Oh, you want to play a casual game of soccer?" And we're like, "Okay, yeah, that sounds fun." They come back full uniform.
Yeah, they have jerseys with their name on it.
Yeah, they were prepared.
They were prepared, and we're all a bunch of creatives, and yeah,
we didn't stand a chance.
No, we didn't stand a chance. And I was playing barefoot, and it was hurting, especially every time I hit with the ball. Oh my gosh. And so anyway, let's go back to the Nepi. So we're at this big, what would you say, a parking lot? It wasn't even a parking lot. It was like the side of a road. There's a little store.
It was very like in the culture.
9 p.m. at night. There's villagers everywhere. They're taking pictures of us thinking we're Justin Bieber.
It was away from the tourist area.
Yeah.
For
Oh my
sure.
gosh.
It was way off the beaten path.
Yeah. The villa was nowhere close to nowhere close to tourists.
Yeah.
We were just with villagers,
Yeah.
and they thought we were so cool. They were taking pictures of us.
It was crazy. They all wanted our photos.
Yeah.
There was that one mom that took a selfie with everyone in our group.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think they thought one of the girls was a celebrity, which.
Man, they all thought everybody was
I
a
think
celebrity.
they all just thought we were celebrities.
And so then everybody gets quiet. And this is the part that was really, really beautiful. And you hear drums, and all these people with the drums start coming through. And they even have these guys who are waiting at the power lines, and they have these giant sticks, right? And they just pull this stick up, and they raise the power lines. And all of a sudden, you see out of the dark this giant paper mache monster.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like 20 feet at least. Scary, like nightmare scary. And everyone's carrying it. No cars are carrying it. The villagers, to be honest, each little village makes their own paper mache monster. And they parade them through the streets, and they burn them on the beach throughout all of Bali. And what they do with this, what it symbolizes, is that they're trying to remove the bad energy from each village by parading it through the streets. Something that was very intense to watch, very spiritual, very just a culture shock in itself. We didn't expect it. And seeing these monsters that they make, well, first of all, they're impressive.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. And then we send everybody back after the parade, after we saw 6-8 of these giant paper mache monsters in different villages going through. And they're all playing drums and everything. We go back to the village, and then that morning, we weren't allowed to leave the house. We weren't allowed to have electricity on, and that's part of the holiday. It's the silent day. So
yeah,
after
they even turned off like cell phone towers and
yeah,
everything.
even
like,
the airport.
You had no Wi-Fi.
The airport was closed, man.
Like you had
nothing
except
the 40 people we're with, and we entertained ourselves well.
Yeah, we used iPhone lights for a photo shoot. I
Really?
remember that. Yeah, we set up a bunch of iPhones. We got the flashlights on, and we used that to take some photos.
So that's surprising because it does get dark there, like around 6 p.m. I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, it was that day of silence, especially when it started raining, and it's the day of really just meditation. No one leaves their houses, and being in the position of, hey, I don't know too much about meditation personally, so being able to learn meditation, being able to participate, made my spirituality go through the roof. And now I practice meditation, and I'm so excited because we're actually going there during that holiday again. And I'm very excited to see and participate in the culture, in that religion, and might not believe that necessarily what the religious views are, but I love respecting it, I love viewing it, and I love participating in what I can. And if I can show that off in a good way and show through respect and show the world knowledge about this holiday, man, that's beautiful to me. And then we go back to the playing soccer with the team. That meant the world to them. They said we were the first people who have ever stayed there to actually become friends with them and then want to actually continue that relationship and play soccer with them.
Yeah, they even added us on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, they were following us. There's a marketing tool right there. Become friends with the staff. Treat everyone with kindness.
Yeah, we treated them like people, and apparently that's not as common as it should be.
No, man.
And that's sad.
It is. And to know that they work so hard for so little, because we know that we're in America and it's easier for us to make money. For them, they don't have that opportunity. And they really went above and beyond to help us. And it touched my heart for sure. And leaving was hard. There was tears. I could see tears from at least 6 different models just crying because we had such an amazing time. And man, I'm gonna get teared up talking about it, dude. It's sad, man.
It's a magical experience. You just have to be there to witness and take that all in.
They cared for us like family, honestly. Like, they showed us more compassion than we did, and we showed them so much. And they would go and try to learn our names, man.
Yeah,
Do you remember?
They were such great guys to have around, and even when we went to Costa Rica, the staff there was also really friendly, very nice. I remember the Lee guy he was just so much fun.
Man,
he was a funny guy.
What was his name? Not Hako. It was
I'm
Chaco or something like that.
I'm bad with the names.
Yeah, he was the people. Man, if it was Bali, Costa Rica, Greece, wherever we've been, we always try to respect the people the houses we're at, the places we are, and the people who work for us, man. Because those are the people ensuring our safety, ensuring our needs, man. They feed us, they take care of us.
And fun fact, like the guy with the villa that we stayed at Bali, like there's been some pretty big people that have stayed there before us.
There has been. There's been a lot of big people.
Do you remember some of the people that stayed there?
Yeah. The one that I was notable about is that they told us Hillary Clinton's campaign stayed at that house. So yeah, it's a very nice place. Yeah. It's a very nice place. A lot of I forget the other people.
He was bragging about a few different celebrities that had stayed there.
Yeah, they were saying about Remy Lewbel being there. It was
yeah, they're going to be telling Hillary Clinton, yeah, Remy stayed here.
Yeah. No, I'm not that I'm not that narcissistic. But I definitely, man, the Salam, he was the house manager at the time. He made sure every need was met. Yeah. And just making sure that if you are building a business, especially with travel, or in my shoes, working with people in travel, show them kindness, show them respect, tip them, make sure they feel like family. Because at the end of the day, that reflects on your marketing. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, man.
Marketing is who you are. It's your brand. Like, your brand is what people think and feel about you. Yeah. And so with your personal brand or your business, just being kind to people, that's how people are going to remember you.
You have to learn. And sometimes, you can get upset in situations, or sometimes you want to act emotionally, and you just have to go back and take that step back and say, whoa, am I acting too emotional? Or am I acting in a calm manner? Because your reactions will prescribe of what people think of you 100%, especially being in a leadership role. So you have to always make sure you're saying the right words and not messing up, because, you know, being somewhere 10 days, traveling with people, sometimes that you can get not too emotional, but you can definitely get annoyed. You can get stressed, not sleeping a lot. You never want to show that. You always want to have a smile on your face. Be real, yes.
That can be hard.
Yeah.
It can be really hard.
Because all of these clients' energy rubs off on you. So if you're in a negative energy, negative headspace, you might as well find a new job, because people are going to reflect on that.
Yeah, and people really take on the
aura
of the people around it, especially the people that are representative of leadership.
Exactly. So keeping that positive mind space is something good. Which
meditation helps with.
Meditation helps me a lot. I've learned so much about my personal self just this last semester of college. I've really dug down to learn, because we did take a break of trend events for 6 months, because I wanted to obviously finish school, but also understand who I am and be the better person I can be, not just for the clients, but for my friends and family. I really want to make sure the next step of my life is not just being a good marketer, is being a good person, and a person who is actually here in the world, not for superficial items, but creating a culture and an impact that only one person can create. And that person, I believe, is me.
Well, we're just about out of time, so I want to close this up with a last question.
Go for it.
And that is, what were your biggest learning lessons starting this business? What would you tell yourself 2 years ago?
Anything's possible if you put the right work in. Man, like I said, I never knew I was going to be here. If I looked back, of course there's things I could change. I wish I could change so much. I look at every event of what could I, not, oh my gosh, that event was awesome. What can I do better? So after Costa Rica, what can I do better after Costa Rica? After Bali, what can I do better after Bali? What did I like? I honestly will pull out dry erase boards at the office, and I will have what I like, what I don't like. I spend more time on what I don't like because I want the next experience to have those what I don't like be on the things I do like, because we've fixed those situations, we've fixed those problems, and we've altered them to make them not more user-friendly, but smoother, cleaner.
Well, awesome. Thank you very much, Remy, for taking the time to speak with me. Again, this is Remy. He is with Trend45. If you want to apply to go to the events that he hosts, you can check it out on Trend40. We are Trend45.
We are Trend45.com.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys.